It's funny, this morning I told my daughter what was going on, and touched me. She was like, "Good for you, Mama." She's like, "Good for you that you let people see that this also affects teachers."
Welcome to our Spotlight episode in which we're going to interview Brigitte from Pelt, who is a lecturer at BUAS. We're now standing in front of her house and she will have some interesting stories to tell. Thank you for being here. To start off with, could you maybe introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Brigitte van Pelt. I always say to people, on paper I look Dutch, but I'm not, helaas niet. Let's see, I'm from the US. I'm married to Jeroen, almost 21 years. We have 2 teenagers, Anna and Max, and I have been here for 19 years. And I work at BUAS. I teach academic writing and public speaking.
And what makes you the most happiest about teaching at BUAS?
I like that it's small scale.
Yeah.
That I have a lot of one-on-one contact with students, which I really enjoy. That's when you can really help people.
And have you ever gotten a bad experience while teaching at BUAS so far? Or just before, maybe at Avans or something?
Well, I think it was the moment that I came into work and I had really had a hard day, and I asked the students to be patient and kind with me, and they weren't. And to make a long story short, I walked out of the class, I slammed the door, and then I called my boss to tell her what I did. And that was probably the best thing I could have done, because that's when I realized I really needed some help to deal with some of the issues that were going on inside my head. I remember I went to this docent coach and he asked me, so can you tell me about yourself? And the first thing he said was, so when were you born? And I was like, are we going this far back? I thought, oh my God. So I told him like my whole history of my childhood up until now. And he just kind of shook his head and said, I am very sorry, but I think I'm too light for you. He said, I think you really need some professional help. Then it became very obvious that I had bipolar disorder. So I think for me, that day of slamming the door, that was the beginning of figuring out what was wrong.
Mental health is a global topic that everyone is confronted with. How important mental health is becomes clear when looking at the statistics. The most recent numbers told us that in the Netherlands, 1 out of 4 young adults have struggled with mental health. And 4 out of 10 people are actually dealing with 1 or more mental disorders, with depression as most common. Bipolar disorder is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings that include emotional highs and lows. These mood swings can affect sleep, energy, activity, judgment, behavior, and the ability to think clearly. In the Netherlands, an estimate of 1.3% have symptoms of bipolar disorder.
So you said you got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Could you tell what it is for you to experience bipolar disorder?
It's a mood disorder. It basically means you have high highs and low lows. Everyone has good days, bad days, but the extremes are quite big when you have bipolar disorder. So yeah, I'm either really, really happy or I'm really, really sad. I mean, I also have, stable moments, but yeah, when it's happy, it's quite extreme. And when it's sad, it's also quite extreme.
How low were those low moments actually?
Low.
Yeah?
Really low. Yeah, I think, sounds really bad, but I think there were some days that I thought the world would be better off without me. That, sometimes you feel like such a burden, because I think my kids have to deal with this, my husband has to deal with this. And sometimes I think, if I just got in my car and drove away, or if I got hit by a bus or, something that I just had those moments. And I drove a lot in my car and just took a lot of time to think about things, because sometimes I didn't want to influence other people. So I would just kind of leave or take a walk. That also helped a lot. But yeah, the moments are quite low for me.
Yeah, because I think
all of our students, they see you as a really like positive and always enthusiastic and happy teacher. But how did you deal with that while having bipolar disorder?
I think I've just always used humor.
Yeah.
And one thing I have learned is if I'm having a horrible day, is to be even kinder to other people. So if the people I'm seeing are my students, then I try to be kinder because I think I don't want them to suffer because I'm having a bad day. If anything, I want to try to counteract that bad feeling and make it a better feeling. But with this, it's funny, with my colleagues, I always tried to hide that. But with my students, I always just said, this is what's going on. Because I think I felt compassion, because I know students go through the same.
Yeah, did you notice that? Like that there were students that had the same, and did they even come to you then as well?
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've seen students try to give a presentation and then start crying in the middle of it. That's happened a few times. Or students that came in and said, I can't come to class. Like they were standing in the hall and said, I can't make it to class because my parents are divorcing and I'm just, it's too much for me to sit in class today. I'm too sad. And then I, gave them a hug and then I said, I get it, that's fine, take care of you.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for these students?
So I think, I wish I had gotten help, years and years and years ago. But, it happened, when it needed to. So I think, whether it's, talk to your house-arts or talk to a psychologist, talk to friends, don't live with all that horrible, all those horrible feelings just in your own little world and feel sad. I think, find a way to share that with somebody so that you can feel that you're not alone.
And you said you had 5 main things that could help other people with dealing with mental illness. What are those 5 things?
Get adequate amount of sleep. That's very important. Like go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Exercise, that's a good one. That'll make you feel really good. Take a run around the block or, go to the gym. Find a hobby that makes you very happy, whether it's, photography or drawing or, in my case, gardening. You also have listen to music. So sometimes that, music can really make a huge difference. And then, number 5, hang out with your friends. Friends are, they're your free therapy, Where would we be without our friends,
You have said that barely anyone knows about your bipolar disorder. Why are you willing to open up about this right now?
Maybe because of this whole Corona thing. Because any article you read about, what are the effects aside from the economic effects of Corona, there's a lot of people out there dealing with mental health issues. So many people that, went through depression or they lost their job, because they couldn't work, or people that couldn't see their friends that felt very isolated. I think there's a lot of people that need a lot of help coming out of this. It's affected the whole world.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to address this and to not make it a taboo topic. Yeah. Mental illness is a problem.
And how are you dealing with it, with bipolar disorder?
Well,
at the moment?
Actually, now I'm probably the stablest I have been in a long time. Ask my husband. I don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the interview, Brigitte, and hope to see you at school again.
All right, you're welcome.